The universe is trying to kill you. Not with a meteor, not with a black hole, not with anything you've been warned about in a science class or a documentary. With silence. For decades, the working assumption in cosmology was simple. Space is mostly empty. Vast stretches of nothing between stars, between galaxies, between everything. A cold, dark vacuum where the laws of physics operate cleanly and quietly and without interruption. That assumption is falling apart. And what's replacing it is something that should make every person on this planet deeply uncomfortable about what we thought we understood. Let's start with what we actually know. When astronomers look at the universe, they measure what they can detect. Light, radio waves, gravitational signatures, the movement of galaxies, the rotation of stars around galactic centers. These are observable things, real data. And for a long time, the data made sense. Galaxies formed, stars burned, planets coalesced around them. The universe was big and mostly empty, and the math worked. Then someone looked more carefully at how galaxies spin. A galaxy rotates. The stars at the outer edges of a galaxy orbit the galactic center the same way planets orbit a star. And based on the visible mass of the galaxy, all the stars and gas and dust you can actually see and measure, those outer stars should be moving at a certain speed. Physics predicts it precisely. They don't move at that speed. They move faster, significantly faster. So much faster that by all rights, the outer stars of most galaxies should be flying off into space. The visible mass of the galaxy isn't enough to hold them in orbit at those speeds. They should be gone. But they're not gone. They're still there. Still orbiting. Still behaving as if something is holding them. Something with mass. Something with gravity. Something completely invisible. Scientists called it dark matter, not because they understood it, because they needed a name for the thing they couldn't see but couldn't ignore. And here's the number that changes everything. The visible universe, every star you can see, every galaxy photographed by every telescope ever built, every atom of ordinary matter that makes up planets and people and everything you have ever touched, accounts for approximately 5% of the total mass and energy of the universe. 5%. The remaining 95% is something else entirely. Something that does not emit light, does not reflect light, does not interact with light in any way we can currently detect. And it is everywhere. Not scattered sparsely across deep space, not concentrated in distant corners of the cosmos, everywhere. Moving through you right now as you watch this, passing through walls, through the earth, through the sun, without leaving a single measurable trace. The universe is not empty. It is full of something we cannot see, cannot touch, and cannot explain. Dark matter is only half the problem. In 1998, two independent teams of astronomers were studying supernovae, exploding stars, to measure how fast the universe was expanding. They expected to find that expansion was slowing down. Gravity pulls things together. The mass of the universe should be acting as a brake on its own growth. What they found instead stopped the scientific community cold. The universe is not slowing down. It is accelerating, expanding faster and faster with every passing moment. Not coasting, not holding steady, actively speeding up, as if something is pushing outward from inside the fabric of space itself. They called it dark energy. And if dark matter was disturbing, dark energy is something else entirely. Dark matter at least behaves like matter. It has gravitational effects. It clusters. It interacts with the universe in ways that, while invisible, follow recognizable physical rules. Dark energy doesn't behave like anything physics had a framework for. It is not a substance you can point to. It is not particles. It appears to be a property of space itself, a pressure built into the vacuum, growing stronger as the universe expands, driving galaxies apart at accelerating speeds. It makes up roughly 68% of everything. 68% of the universe is a force we discovered 26 years ago, cannot measure directly, cannot reproduce in a laboratory, and cannot fully explain with any existing theory of physics. Now here is where it gets stranger. For years, the assumption was that dark matter and dark energy were simply gaps in our knowledge. Placeholders. We knew something was there, we just hadn't figured out what it was yet. Science would catch up, it always does. But the closer we look, the more the gaps refuse to close. Every attempt to directly detect dark matter particles has failed. Not failed in the way that means we need more sensitive equipment. Failed in the way that makes physicists question whether dark matter is made of particles at all. Some of the most sophisticated detectors ever built, buried miles underground to eliminate interference, cooled to fractions of a degree above absolute zero, operating for years at a time, have found nothing. Complete silence where the signal should be. And the theories designed to explain dark matter keep getting ruled out one by one. The leading candidate for decades was a category of particle called WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles. The experiments designed to find them found nothing. The parameter space where WIMPs could exist has been almost entirely eliminated. So what is dark matter? We don't know. And the honest answer, the one that doesn't get said loudly enough, is that we are less certain now than we were 30 years ago. Some physicists have started asking a different question entirely. What if dark matter doesn't exist? What if the problem isn't invisible mass? What if it's our theory of gravity itself? Modified gravity theories propose that at certain scales, gravity doesn't behave the way Newton and Einstein described. That the equations we use break down at galactic scales in ways we haven't accounted for. That the strange rotation curves of galaxies aren't evidence of missing mass, they're evidence of missing physics. This sounds radical, but the history of science is full of moments where the established framework turned out to be incomplete. Newton's gravity worked perfectly for centuries until Einstein showed it was an approximation of something deeper. What if our current understanding of gravity is the same kind of approximation? What if the universe isn't filled with invisible matter, but is instead operating under rules we haven't fully written yet? And then there is the possibility that disturbs people most when they actually sit with it. What if the universe is full of something that is not matter, not energy, not a modification of existing physics, but something genuinely new? Something that has no name yet because it falls entirely outside the categories human science has developed. The history of cosmology is a history of discovering that the universe is not what we assumed. Earth was not the center. The sun was not the center. The Milky Way was not the only galaxy. The universe had a beginning. Time is not constant. Space curves. Every time we assumed we understood the basic structure of what exists, the universe revealed another layer we hadn't accounted for. 95% of everything is currently in that category. Unaccounted for. Unnamed in any meaningful way. Filling every cubic meter of space, including the air around you right now. The most accurate description of the universe available to modern science is this. We can fully explain 5% of it. The rest is dark. Here is what makes this different from every other scientific mystery. Most unknowns are at the edges. We don't know what's inside a black hole. We don't know what came before the Big Bang. We don't know if there is life elsewhere in the cosmos. These are questions about extreme conditions, distant places, ancient moments. Dark matter and dark energy are not at the edges. They are here, in this room, in the space between the atoms of your hand, interacting with the universe constantly, invisibly, without any signal we can currently read. We are not looking for something far away and hard to reach. We are surrounded by it. We have always been surrounded by it, and we have almost no idea what it is. The universe was never empty. We just didn't have the instruments to feel what was filling it. And the unsettling truth, the one that keeps certain physicists awake, is that we still don't. Whatever is out there, whatever has always been out there, moving through everything we are and everything we've built without leaving a trace, it does not appear to need us to understand it. It was here before we were. And it will be here long after the last human being looks up at the sky and wonders what they're missing.